Today I'm going to show you something about how to accelerate your video editing, either by increasing your rendering speed or your export speed. I'm using Filmora 10, and until version 10.7 it was brilliant, but with 10.7 I lost a lot of my custom settings. So I hope they fix that. If not, they are going to be a pain to use. It doesn't recognize that where I left my last video editing. So that is a bit more irritating to do. Uh, so let's see how to speed up, really accelerate your video editing. I was using a 10-year-old Samsung i7 second generation, and it was slow, really slow. Then I changed to my Acer Nitro 5. But the problem with the Acer Nitro 5 is it overheats, the fan stopped cooling, and I'm getting a bit sick of it. Uh, why is it modern manufacturers are making low quality stuff? The worst is with climate change. Our room temperature here in Malaysia used to be, I think, 27 Celsius. Now it's 32. Some days it's gone up as high as 35. And a lot of equipment doesn't work at 35 or 34 degrees Celsius. So anyway, I'm just warning you that be careful of what product you buy. Make sure the specs show it can work up to 55 Celsius, 55 degrees Celsius, because if not, you might find that your equipment specs up and stops working when you need it the most. So let's have a look at how I accelerated my video editing. Okay, the first thing I noticed when I've been using Filmora for quite a number of years, I think about 1.5 years to 2 years, was that if I export the files at 24 frames per second and use Handbrake to compress it before I upload to YouTube, I always have some out of sync videos. That is, my voice comes out maybe earlier or later than my facial expression, speech. So in the end, the only way I could resolve it was by exporting the video in Filmora at 60 frames per second, right? When you do 60 frames per second, even Filmora and or Handbrake don't have this problem. Your mouth doesn't move first and then the voice comes later. You don't have that problem. The other thing I noticed with running at 24 and 60 frames per second is Filmora export time is much faster if you export at 24 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second. But unfortunately, I cannot do that because the voice goes out of sync. So I'd just like to recap what we have understood by all my experiments. Number one is hardware acceleration is far superior to anything you can do to improve your video editing time. The rendering is improved by almost 3 times the speed. The export of files is 65% faster if you have good hardware. Mine is Acer Nitro 5 GeForce GTX 1606 Ti, which I don't think it's the full-blown GPU because there are lots of problems I'm having with this device. The other thing I notice is if your room temperature goes too high up, the CPU and the GPU get too hot, your rendering time can move from 1-2 hours, 1 hour at least, to 5 hours due to overheating. I've seen the clock speed on the CPU drop from 3.4 gigahertz to 0.78 gigahertz, which is really slow. Maybe it's worth considering switching off your PC and letting it cool down properly and then do your rendering. It will take you probably half an hour to do that, right? Waiting for it to cool down. Or else if you actually carry on rendering while it's very hot, it's going to take you 5 hours to do a 15-minute video rendering. The other thing also is that speeding up your RAM will help a little bit, but not much, maybe about 10%. I've tested with SSD and with RAM disk. RAM disk it takes a portion of the memory and assigns it as a disk drive. It's very fast. It's probably 20, 30, 40 times faster than my hard disk, right? Actually, it can be as fast as 46 times, but it's very marginal. The performance you get from installing a RAM disk or using SSD is very marginal. I wouldn't spend too much money on investing in fast memory and faster SSDs and all that. It's worth putting the money into a good GPU, a video card. If you're using Filmora, I do not know how the other programs behave, but with Filmora, you really have to go for a very good quality, high-speed graphics card to help you improve your video editing time, to accelerate it so fast that you quickly finish your work. The other thing also I found out is that when you're doing your editing, don't render a 4K video to 1080p. it really slows down the whole rendering process. What's worth it is carry on working as a 4K video, and at the end, once you finish everything, then convert it to a 1080p video. That will be much faster and save you a lot more time. So if you think this is good, let me know. Give me some feedback in the comments, and also check out the links down there. I've got a few links. It will help me fund my research and my YouTube videos, because my links are for affiliate programs, which I get a small commission from. It doesn't affect your price, the price you pay for whatever you buy, but it's worth it, and it do help me out. Bye.